Hello, hello, hello. Oh, how are you all? Hey, Meg. You okay?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I thought you couldn't hear me then. I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I'm good. You having a good day?
I am actually. I'm having a very chill. I've got a very chill time at the moment. I don't
Oh,
have as much going on, and I'm trying to keep it that way.
that is my kind of day.
Mm.
Keeping it spacious. Hey, Mel.
Hi.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Yeah, good. Thank you. Very good. Let me just let people in. Oh, there's a few people asking if it was going to be recorded, but I'll just wait. Make sure we get everyone in. Hi, Lindsay.
Hey, Amanda, you okay?
Yeah, good, thank you. Are you?
Yes, very good, thank you.
Good, good. Right, we'll just let people roll in. Hi, Izzy.
Just going to take care of my dog quickly. It'll be
Yeah,
2 minutes.
yeah, do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. We'll just have a few minutes just to let people come in, otherwise I'll miss them while I'm presenting them. So I thought the best way to do this would be if I go through the kind of basic content planner that I've put together, and then I think we can take probably 3 or 4. We'll see how we get on. But if people put in the chat what they would like to see added to it, like what they think is missing or what would work for them, like changing something would work for them, then I can go through how to do that with you so you can understand how to make the content planner work specifically for you, but also hopefully how you can use Notion to work for you. We'll all be knee deep in various Notion boards like I am permanently. I think this is the one that's going to sort my life out. This is it. This is the one. And it's never the one. Hi, Joe. You okay? Cool. All right. Well, shall we just get started and then I can just let people in as they turn up. So let me just share this one. Can everyone see that? Cool. Okay, so this is the basic framework that I've put together. I'm just going to talk you through it and then we will come to the creating it, making it unique for you bit. So I've kind of put this together based on how I would work. I've split it down into 3 sections. So we've got an overview here. I am recording, aren't I? Can someone let me know I'm recording? I am, aren't I?
It did say when I came on, this is recording. So I think so.
Let me yeah, it's definitely recording. That would be typically be something I would do. Okay, split into 4 sections. So we've got the overview, we've got the planning section, the creating section, and then repurposing at the bottom. So at the top here, we have got a schedule. This is a bit of a content minimums, I guess, might be a term that people are used to. So your kind of target for the week, how often you want to post on platforms, which platforms you want to post on. I can't imagine that any of us are posting on all of these. I think I've got all of them on there, but I would recommend deleting the ones that you're not going to use. So for me, this would look like my goals are to I try and post on Instagram daily through the week. I'm trying to get better with TikTok, but LinkedIn, I'm trying to do every day at the moment. That might not be a forever thing, but I'm trying to do it at the moment. And then I try and send an email on a Wednesday and I don't write a blog. So I would probably go in and delete all of those that aren't relevant to me. That's entirely up to you. I guess the key is that we just don't want it to be overwhelming. We just want like the minimum information that we want on here, really, depending on how your brain works. So I have put these sections in as well, because I think for some people it's quite handy to have an outline of not the specific post, but just the area that you might be talking about on that day. I find that's quite helpful for people. So it might be that on Monday you try and talk about like a personal story, and on Tuesday you share something about work. Wednesday you talk about a client, like something, you know, client results or something like that. So for some people it's really helpful to have that. I've put the objective in as well, so engage, grow or sell, depending on which. In fact, they're not right. I thought I'd change those. Engage, let me just update these. Attract, or convert. Okay, so again, up to you if you want to put the actual objective in. I find that's quite handy from an overview point of view, because you know that what can happen really easily if we just fly by the seat of our pants is that we're just doing all like growth content. We're doing all content that just speaks to cold audiences, and we're just trying to attract new people in. We're just trying to grow our audiences, and we're really neglecting the engagement bit, the kind of deeper trust building bit, but also that convert bit. And that's okay for a while, but then we get to the point where we're like, there's no sales coming in, and now I kind of have to start building that trust. So you can imagine on here that if you say every Monday is an attract day, so that's always like shareable content that's kind of going to have a broad appeal. Maybe Tuesday is as well. Wednesday, go for a bit of engagement. Thursdays maybe attract as well. But every Friday I'm going to sell. You know, at least then you know that at least once a week you're prompted to be selling, to be converting in your content. Does that bit make sense to everyone? Cool. Okay, this week is this part here is just a calendar view, weekly calendar view of your content plan down here. So this is going to populate itself, but I just thought it was quite nice to have a weekly overview at the top here on this top section. So the next bit is this planning / like brainstorming bit. So you're going to come into here and put your pillars in here. So let's do one of you actually. Who knows what their pillars are? Anyone? What do you talk about in your content? Like, what are the main things that you talk about in your content?
Do you mean like what are we saying mostly?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what are the areas that you talk about? So my content pillars would be like ADHD, like funny ADHD related, like relatable stuff, business content, personal story content. Yeah, what are those kind of areas that you
So
try
for me, like it's exercise. Is that what you're talking about? Right? Yeah, like
Yeah.
exercise, midlife.
Yeah, perfect.
Um,
So one is exercise. Oh. Why is typing when people are watching so
I
hard?
know.
You just lose all your basic skills, don't you? Midlife.
Midlife, yeah.
Yeah.
Habit building.
Habit building. You don't need 4. It might just be that you have 3. Do you
Yeah,
have like
I mean,
a sort of your story one? Where do you talk about about where you come into it?
yeah, I mean, I definitely talk about personal stuff on there. Mine is so like when you're saying this, I'm going, oh my God, I'm so random. This is going to be so
Okay.
good for me.
Oh
So
yeah, brilliant.
it's
So
it's what I wake up and think about, I post.
okay, Okay,
Yeah,
and that's
so
fine. I kind of do that as well.
mm,
But this is just going to mean that you've got that, you've got every box ticked. Okay,
I mean
great.
that definitely comes into my marketing a lot as well, my personal story, and
Yeah.
so definitely, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so your kind of workflow might be like this. I recommend, the way I work with this kind of dashboard is I like to do like speed content sessions. So I'll have, 20, 30 minutes perhaps, and I'll just come in here and write down as many things in each of these sections as I can. And it doesn't really matter if it's fully fleshed out or if it doesn't completely make sense at the time. It can just be a broad kind of concept. So it might be that we set a timer and we come in here and say, maybe this is an actual tutorial for, I don't know, what's an exercise?
Just say a squat is nice and
Yeah,
easy, isn't
okay.
it? Tutorial for
A squat.
Mine's more like stretching and stuff, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Why stretching
Yeah.
is as good as running.
Yeah.
Can tell I don't exercise. And how to exercise while you're at your desk. So you just come in here and just write down all of these things. Midlife might be why 50 is the new 30. Don't shower me, anyone. Give me another one, Mel. What might
it might be exhaustion. So tying it in, like feeling utterly exhausted.
why you're
You're exhausted. Yeah. And then it might be like empty nest syndrome, which some people. Yeah.
Empty nest. Cool. Habit building. How to build habits in 5 minutes a day. And the idea at this stage isn't that we're not thinking like, oh, that's a reel, or this will be a carousel, or we're not thinking about the caption or anything like that, even the creative. It's just literally the concept, just kind of burning through these ideas. Why habits are the answer to your motivation. And then personal story might be like why I do what I do. What's another personal story bit you tell?
One of my huge ones is how doing just one exercise a day for 1 minute got me back to fitness.
Amazing.
That's my huge thing. That's my big thing that I talk about.
How doing one exercise for 1 minute, that is my kind of exercise, got me back to health.
Yep.
Amazing. Love it. Okay. So what was that, like 4 minutes or something, 5 minutes? You can see how many you'd be able to do, especially if you're just sat there by yourself. You'd be able to just write loads and loads down if you had even 10 minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes once a week is just going to give you loads of ideas. And it's great kind of doing this stuff by the seat of your pants. And I am very much that person. But you almost fall into your own kind of bias in a way, you almost fall into your own, whatever's front and center of mind for you at that time is the thing you want to talk about, rather than when you're in, a relaxed state and you're just thinking about your broader business and really thinking about these pillars. There might be some much more valuable or kind of juicier content that comes out of those sessions. So does that make sense for everyone? Pretty simple concept. Yeah? Cool. So we're going to scroll down and they're all down here for you. So this is when we're going to start fleshing them out. So each of those ideas has come down into this table with the pillar that it's associated with. So we can go into them each now and say, didn't change these ones either. Engage. Oh, sorry. Attract. That. Okay, so we can come down to each of these ones. We probably want this one a bit further across, actually. Once we've worked out what we're going to be talking about. So, yeah, okay. So we're going to say in here what we want these to, maybe we want the platform first. Let's leave the platform there. So looking at each of these ones, this is where we start thinking about what the how you would want to tell this story, what the content would actually look like for you. Have I missed something in the chat here? Oh, just what you know. Oh, brilliant. Oh, okay, you're just chatting. Oh, I'll come back to these. Let me just finish this bit and then I'll come back to the questions. So for you, Mel, thinking about this, how doing exercise for 1 minute got me back to health. What would you, thinking about that, what would be the kind of natural format that you would want to do that in? Would it be, if we're thinking about Instagram, would it be a reel, single image, carousel?
Yeah, I mean, I a lot of the stuff I do, which is only really that stuff, it's demonstrating one super simple exercise while I make my coffee in the morning, and I film
Okay.
myself doing it, and I
Perfect.
have a little tagline that says, and then in the, you know, in there somewhere, I just talk about the fact that that's how to get yourself. If you're knackered and you've lost all your motivation, that's how to get started. Just do 1 minute while you're making your coffee.
Yeah,
So
no.
yeah, a reel with me with a voiceover, but demonstrating the movement.
Yeah. Which is great, but when we think about if that's the majority of the content that you're doing, when you then come to law, I mean, that's not that's kind of engaged content, isn't it? It's not really reaching new audiences. It's
Absolutely.
you're kind of just talking to the people you've already got there, and it's also not particularly converting them.
No, and this is why I'm literally in a stuck state with I'm not really growing, because that's all I'm doing. Because it, for a while, it got me from like 700 to like over 3,000, but now it's piddly each week, and I'm like, okay, I really need to. So this is amazing for me. This is like groundbreaking for me. So yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
So thinking of a different way of doing that, you know, might be a carousel with different things, different advices, and breaking down, you know, just.
I think for you, there's just slightly going off topic. I think that there's probably it's probably this midlife one that's going to be your attract. I feel like with the midlife stuff, you can create that really broad reaching, you know, almost to everyone that is in some stage of midlife. And then when you start talking about the exercise stuff, people self-select, don't they, and say, oh, I thought this was for me, but actually it's not. But attracting that audience in, and then the people who are interested in what you're actually about and what you're actually selling will stay for the exercise content. So I feel like you just need some much broader reaching content in there, which will probably come into the midlife stuff.
Yeah.
So it might be that we go through these and say, all right, that's a video, that's a reel. I always do those as videos. Why I do what I do, that could be like a single image, couldn't it? An image of you, or maybe a carousel.
Yeah.
But just again, going through these, deciding what you want them to be. Why habits are the answer to your motivation. That would be a really nice carousel. How to build habits in 5 minutes a day, probably a video. And just going through these to kind of demonstrate. Empty nesting would be a nice video, I think. Why you're knackered all the time, carousel. 50 is the new 30. Nice carousel, I think. How to exercise at your desk. Why stretching is as good as running. Maybe a single image in there. And a video. And then we're going to come in here and we are actually going to write it in here. And I know for an ADHD brain that can feel like kind of duplicating the work, but I promise you it will save you time, because actually all you're going to do is write it in here and then either copy and paste it into Canva if it's a carousel, which you would have to type it in Canva anyway, or copy and paste it straight onto your reel. Where, you know, most of us are sat there going, like, what's the next bit? So it's just kind of cutting out all of that bit. So we're going to come in, and this is the thing with content. This is the conversation I have with people all the time is they'll say, I'll block time out in my calendar, and then I come to it and my mind's just blank. And we're kind of expecting too much of ourselves. Like, there is quite a lot of stages of components to content creation now. It's not just about, you know, chucking a selfie up on Instagram and putting a few words with it. We have to be quite creative about it. There's actually quite a few stages. So by having something like this and breaking those stages down for ourselves, when we get to that moment in our calendar where it says you have an hour here for content creation, all we're doing is coming in here saying, right, what do I need for tomorrow? Got it. Everything's there. It's done. Yeah. Cool. So we're going to come in here and we're going to write it. Then we're going to write our caption, ideally. I mean, I'm not going to be, you know, watching over you to make sure you do, but I would really recommend it. We're going to pop in here which platform it's for. And obviously, there might be, I think I've covered all the bases, haven't I? Video, carousel. Yeah, so we're going to put in here what it's for, and then put in here what our objective is. I think that makes sense to have it last. So we can make sure that when we're creating, in fact, let's put the objective here. So we know that when we're writing the content, when we're actually creating it, we're doing it with, if it's to attract, we're doing it with the metric of sharing in mind. Are people going to see this and share it? Brilliant, then it's going to attract new people. Are we telling people our content story? Brilliant, then it's going to convert. Are we asking people a question and encouraging the engagement and building trust with them? Then it's engagement content. So we know exactly where we're going with it. And then it's kind of done. I mean, we'll come through here and we've got not started, written, created. So we've either written it out on here, or we've actually created it, or we've posted it. Let's put our date here. So we can put the date that we're going to post it. And then that's what's reflected up here. So if we've got this content, we're saying that one's for today, and that one's for tomorrow, and that one's for Saturday, etc. Then that is going to be reflected up here, and we just have an overview of what's going out each day. So we know what's coming up. And then if we come in here, so if we post something and if it's done really well, or we think that we've got more to say on it, like there's more angles, there's more kind of hooks that we can go at with it. If you come in here and just put repurpose, so some of these might just be posted, done, and some of them would be repurposed. And then we come down here and we've just got a list of content. If you imagine you've been doing this for a couple of months, we've got a list of content that has done really well for us, that we can either go in and recreate content around, or we can find the content that we posted. We could come onto that because there is a way of linking it here. I just don't know if anyone will actually do that, and repost it. Simple. And we've got the date here. It's going to show you the date that it actually went out. So I would recommend leaving it probably a good 3 months before you start repurposing. Make sense? Cool. So that is the basic outline. What I've just realized I haven't done. So the first tutorial is I'm going to show you how to let's do a view. So in this one, so Notion is essentially just a really pretty and versatile way of displaying databases, spreadsheets. That's all it is. It's just built on spreadsheets, and it just gives you the functionality of primarily filtering, but you can we'll come into the editing section in a bit. There's loads of different options, so there's many different ways that you can present this data back. So on this one, I'm just going to filter out based on status. So we only want to show, we don't want to once it's posted, it can go. Do we want it to go? We don't want it in here once it's posted, do we? Or do we? Maybe we just do it on the date. What would everyone prefer? The date? Once the date's gone. I'm just thinking if it goes as soon as you said posted. Like it'll only be in here, but it's quite nice to have the option to still see it.
Yeah, because then if it goes as soon as you've posted it, but then it does really, really well and you want to repurpose it, where is it?
It would just be in here. I'll just put it in this tab here, but it's still,
Right.
I think it's better to do it on date, isn't it? Let's do it on date. Let's delete that one. So we'll filter it by date, and we'll only show stuff. Start date is yeah. No. No, we don't want the past, do we? Start date is when we want the next. That's it. So everything in the past will be gone. Let's just check that one. Yeah. So for the year, so we've got it for the year ahead. Everything that is dated before that or isn't dated will go in here. So we need to make sure that we are putting dates on stuff. I don't think that's right. Let's have a look at it. Let me just come to these questions and then we can see what everyone would like. So start having a think about this is your dashboard. Start having a think about what would make most sense for you, and then we can build that one. I'll duplicate this and we can build that one, and then you can have that version. We'll work it out. I think I just said that. Categorizing, saying totally random. I think I might change some of the category names. So yeah, perfect. Don't have products that I directly sell. It might be, yeah, it's up to you, Joe. It might be that you still use Convert, because Convert's, you know, the same whether you're converting people onto your email list or a discovery call or whatever it is. But yeah, totally change the names to whatever feels right for you. That's so helpful, because when I have time blocked out to do content creation, yeah, exactly. Do you recommend sticking to these objectives? Yeah, as Meg said, whatever makes sense to you. Am I an overthinker? Yeah, so when people talk about all different objectives, don't they? And some people even talk about pillars as inspire, educate, and what's the other one? Inspire, educate, and motivate. you know, people just use different words. The ones that make sense for me are attract, engage, and convert, because you're either finding new people to join your audience, engaging the people that are there, or converting them to a sale. The inspire, motivate, educate objectives are more about the type of content that you're producing. So rather than the actual objective of the content in terms of business metrics, it's more about, is this an educational piece of content? Is it an inspirational piece, or is it a motivational piece? People like to confuse us. That's what I will say. But yeah, totally. Whatever makes sense for you. Oh, Meg, I'm glad. Just what I need. Suddenly wishing I'd volunteered for this. It's genius. May as well help me VA so much. Repurpose. Yeah, brilliant. Ah, okay. I'd want it to disappear, but then I need to click repurpose to come back to later. Filter by done or something in case I miss the date. It's disappearing from my screen and my brain. Yeah, I don't know why I can't get my head around this. I'm trying to think how I would want it. I'm just going to take that filter off, because I don't think date is right, because we still want.
I had the same issue with the task wizard, where like once the date passed, like I know you can go find it, but like the task would disappear, and then I'd be like, oh shit, like my brain's like, well, it's not on the screen, so it's not happening anymore.
Yeah, that is frustrating, isn't it? I hadn't considered that about the task wizard actually, but some people have brought that up. I think that I know what we'll do. Let's put in another one here, which is like done. Yeah, so that we can say we have like manual control over when it goes. Does that make sense for everyone? And then we'll put the filter on, so it's just so this is what I was saying about the options, and I don't want to overwhelm anyone, but let me take you through this bit for when you're creating it or when you're amending this one. So your layout is the various visual types of the way that the data is going to be displayed. So we have a table, we have the board, which you'll be familiar with, a timeline that we've got at the top, and not all of these, like the timeline would be useless for this one. The calendar, which we've got at the top, a list, and then a gallery. So the gallery is quite nice for some things. I wouldn't recommend it for this, but for some things, for really visual people, the gallery is quite nice. I would recommend the table for this, because it gives us plenty of room to work in it when we're going into to do our captions. So when you come into each one of these, it's going to give you options for, so for example, when you're setting up a board, you've got options of how you want to group it. So what you want these headings to be. At the moment, it's grouped by status, but you could group it by pillar, for example, like the top one is. I don't want to over complicate this. Let's go back to table. Okay, so we're gonna filter this one by status, and we're gonna show everything apart from done. Perfect. So then if we make that one done, it's going to go into here, and then let's make this one that it only shows done. So go to status, and status is means that this is the one that it's going to show. So done. Make sense? I'm sure it doesn't make complete sense. This being recorded, don't forget. So you can go back and watch it again. So essentially what we've got here, let's just rename this one, done. To do. So what we have now got here is two views. So we've got a view that's showing us all of the data that is yet to be done. And we've got a view here which is all of the posts that are done. So bearing in mind, once you've been using this for a few months and you've got loads on here, just because it's not in the repurpose category doesn't mean you can't use it again. Even if that piece of content didn't do particularly well, it's still a really great place to come for inspiration. And it might be that you only ever have, like to be honest, these ideas, kind of 10 ideas here is enough content probably for the year. You can just go in and there's so much content you can make from each one, so many different formats.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you could make loads of different things under each of those headings, couldn't you?
Totally, yeah.
Say it in so many different ways. So
yeah, totally. These could just be, it could just be that every week you're coming in and maybe your market is done just to keep this, but you just like duplicate this as an item and then just create another piece of content from it. But if your market is done, you've still got the old ideas in your done pile. Cool. Okay. What does everyone, have we got some ideas in here for what if? Go on, Meg, ask your question.
So one question, if I am about to go like launch heavy, let's say, so like most of my content's going to be like running up to a launch or in launch or sales period or what have you. I'm just thinking where, without creating another database, like where would I use like a tag or something to just be like, this is just for launch or what have you?
Yeah, so it could be that launch becomes another pillar on here, like a temporary pillar.
Okay.
You could have a launch pillar, or you
Mm.
could, I am actually currently working on a different, this is like completely a launch one. So we've got, and I can integrate this into it. I just didn't really, I don't want to confuse matters, but that's like a whole other launch. So you've got your launch plan on there, and then you've got your launch content relating to that. I see that as separate to this.
Okay.
I see this as your always on content plan that is just kind of, and then the launch stuff is almost on top of that, isn't it? So I would recommend, I can integrate that one into this, but maybe it's more about having a separate database, or maybe having another tag in here for, like launch phase. Is it pre-launch? Are you building up leads?
That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that.
In launch.
Yeah.
So maybe we have another tag in here for launch phase or phase.
Yeah, because then like if you were looking at it from like timeline view, you could move stuff around and get out of the now and not now thing of like, yeah, that's quite nice.
I'm just wondering if this is overcomplicating things though in this
Probably for I think I would add in something like that, but for it as a template, probably other people don't need it.
I think that the launch stuff, I think the launch stuff is separate to this. I think it's a separate.
I think I'm trying to work out how, like, because at the moment it all feels quite separate, but then I probably get the overwhelm where I can't see it all at in one view, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Because my other question, which is probably the similar, is thinking of content like Instagram stories, because I've got a lot more strategic with them now. Like I don't just like show up on my stories. I am actually planning them out a little bit. But I
Yeah.
was wondering whether I might just add them in as another
Yeah, that can just go in here.
yeah,
That can just go in as a
another yeah, nice. Okay.
and then maybe I wonder if it helps to have, would anyone want like a board view of platforms? So you can actually come in here and see what content you've got per platform, or even for you then, Meg, because I guess this way, I mean, it could be that you say, oh, this would be really good for like Instagram stories, but I think I would rather come in and do it here. Like, say, my stories this week, I'm going to talk about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I guess it's like personal preference, isn't it? Because I've started like fully like writing mine out, like exactly what I'm going to say and stuff. But I think this would be helpful looking at the platforms, because it's not necessarily that like I don't want to post on LinkedIn or like scared to post on TikTok or anything like that. I just forget.
Yeah.
To see them there and be like, you know, if Instagram is my main thing, but if I knew and I was like, oh, I do actually have some LinkedIn content that I can use, it's that out of sight, out of mind thing.
Yeah, totally. Let me just put stories up here. Yeah, I think that the launch stuff you're talking, I've only just started working on that other one. So I need to, and I want to get that kind of working before I integrate it into this, but I will do. And then there'll be, I personally, for my brain, I have to think of them as two separate things. And if my launch stuff is on, then my kind of day-to-day stuff is reduced.
Yeah, because actually, if I've got a Notion page for the group program in September again, but I'm just thinking you can backlink on Notion, can't you? So I could create a post on this and just backlink to where it sits
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you
okay.
just link that or link to your like Google Drive or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. Okay. So let's see um what's the difference between content and captions? Content, the idea. So content in this scenario, is the actual content. So if we're saying here that we're going to create a reel or a video about how doing one exercise for 1 minute got me back to health, we're going to write out here either the script, so what we're actually going to say, or what we're going to type on the screen. And then the caption is what goes underneath. So the caption is, you know, fleshing out a bit more about the idea and talking about your call to action or whatever the kind of objective of the post might be. Does that make sense? Fab. Would it be in the objective just a launch category? What was that about, Joe? Was that answering Izzy?
So that was with what Meg was saying about launch content. So
yeah.
for me, I think how I would do it is just in like the content categories where you're putting whether it's like attract, convert. I would just have one for launch, because launch is all selling and converting.
Yeah.
That's how I would personally categorize it. That would work for me. And then it would show up on the like calendar view as like launch. Because in
Yeah,
your launch,
definitely.
everything's launch, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah, let's just put that in there as a separate one. So yeah, great. That works, doesn't it?
That works for me. I don't know if it makes sense
Okay.
for other people, but it's like,
Yeah,
maybe only use it twice a year, but it's there when I use it, it's like a
know
month,
when you need it.
everything's launch.
Yeah, and then even if you do have your launch stuff separately, at least you've got a reference to it here as well. So you've got that kind of reference in your calendar here. So let's just
Also repurpose as well, because some of my more generic, some of my attract content, like I want to draw new people into launch as well, so I might repurpose some of the attract stuff into launch.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely there's loads of launch stuff that can be used the rest of the time, isn't it? Let's put objective in here so we can see. I don't think we need status, do we? Let's take status out. Okay, cool. Who wants to? Feel free to unmute and either ask a question or give me something that you would want added onto this so that it works for your brain.
I'd quite like to have a space to put at least a few of the common hashtags that I would use.
Perfect, great idea. So I would either put that down here, or I'm a fan, you probably all know this from the boards that you've got already. I'm a fan of just having like sections up here that you can just create something there. And when this might be a bit basic for some of you, but if you want to do the like column thing that you'll have seen on mine, if you just drag it over and put it next to it, then you can just create columns that way. So it could be that you have hashtags, maybe you have like links to your social here. So you just put the links to, all of your platforms there, hashtags, and maybe here you would have, I don't know, even just like an ideas section that you can dump stuff down. If you're not in speed content mode, maybe you've just got an area for ideas to dump down there. Does that work, Izzy?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Having it there. You could
Yeah.
you could put something down here so you've got everything where you want it, but I mean if you've got them at the top, then
Yeah, just somewhere where I could find them easily and just sort of copy and paste. Yeah.
perfect. Who else has something they would like to add to it, or even just ask, even if it's just like a notion or content question that you want to ask about it? Don't tell me this is complete. Go on, Lindsay. Yeah.
I've got a couple of questions.
Okay, sorry.
First of all, I love this. It's like, I'm so pleased I rushed back from the craziness. I think watching on replay is so different to actually being here and connecting and absorbing it.
Yeah.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I'm glad it works for you.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. This is just what I need. In terms of social media, and because I know on the last, I think it was on the last class when I asked a question, it was around having someone else create your content, or you, and you said could someone they actually have someone else create their content?
Yeah.
And that's when I've had people create my content, that's where I've got a bit stuck, because various things, perfectionism, or it's not representing me.
Yeah. You just kind of disconnect from it, don't you, completely?
And also I also enjoy the content creation bit anyway, so that's good for me too. However, I guess it's just asking your advice really around, because this is really good to work with. I'm actually going to be working with Luke and Manton, which you recommended.
Ah, fantastic.
But I
Oh, he's
love that guy.
amazing.
He's so lovely.
Oh, he's just, don't have enough positive words for him. He's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's great.
So they're going to be helping me with the social media side of things.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I guess your advice around this is brilliant because we can use this together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, just maybe a little bit more advice around the type of content. Again, it might be, obviously if it's personal story, if it's a video, then I would probably just create that. But again, it might be some launch stuff that they create.
Yeah. I think that you could definitely have just an extra thing in here for like who's responsible.
Brilliant.
Like
Yeah.
who. And
Yeah.
then you can tag people in. So it might be that you say, right, these three are really personal to me. I'm going to do these. And there might be some in there that are just really generic and broad. And they're really good. They've got real, like proper social media people on the team. And I'm sure they'll do a whole onboarding, like really understanding the brand. So there will be a workflow that you can work out, and maybe that is you doing all of this, you doing the speed content, you doing this, like fleshing bits out, and then, but I wouldn't do the whole lot, you're paying them to do a job. I think it'll be, once you've written them down, it'll be really clear which bits you want to keep and which bits you're just happy for them to do. And I know what I said last time, but I think as long as you keep some connection to it, as long as you keep some kind of personal story and energy behind it yourself, that's fine. We can't do everything, but I think it's important to keep some kind of connection.
Yeah, brilliant. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
Did you say you had to
Yeah. But if anyone else has got any questions first, I don't want to hog your time.
No, I think you're all right.
I think sometimes other people's questions, we might have had them but didn't know we had them anyway. So because that really helped me as
There's
well.
only a few of us here anyway. There's only like 10 of us, so don't worry.
Yeah. It was just really about using Notion in general. Like, again, having my awareness around my ADHD. I'm literally like, I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I'm like, oh my God, as soon as I finish this, I'm clearing my diary, I'm getting in this is amazing. And I just really like everything about it. But I've never used Notion before. So it's that whole, I guess my question is, I'm kind of answering my question for myself because my gut feel is that this is a really good platform to use. It's sort of how ADHD friendly Notion is as a platform in general. Do you use it for everything? Because I don't even know properly what it does apart from the templates. Do you use it for everything? Or
I mean, I'm going to completely out myself here. I love creating Notion dashboards. I'm a huge advocate of spending a day on a spreadsheet, color coding it, putting all your emojis in. People really beat themselves up for, I spent so long on that plan, then I never did anything with it. Like, there's so much value in creating that plan. It doesn't matter if you feel like you didn't then do anything with it, because you definitely did. It's a way of us processing information and calming our nervous system by seeing everything out in front of us. There's so many different reasons for, so I guess what I'm saying is that I use Notion for a lot of things, but I'm not in it every day. I'm not I run my life by Notion kind of person. I use it to do all of the things I just said, like get a clear picture of my business, plan stuff out, work with other people, use it as like an ideas kind of dumping ground. There's all kinds of ways you can use it. You could use it for your whole business. You could use it for client dashboard, client CRM, finance dashboard. You know, you could use it for whatever you want. I think it's really ADHD friendly once you get to know it.
Yeah.
It's so versatile, and it's so versatile. You know, there's so much you can do with it. It can feel a bit overwhelming, but I think starting with one thing, starting with something like this, if you like it and you're excited about using it, will give you the confidence to add bits on and create your own bits. And you know, and there's tons. If you look on the Notion template dashboard, there's tons of free templates on there. So whatever it is you're trying to do, there will be a free template that you can then just amend to work for you.
Yeah.
Does that
Amazing.
answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Amanda.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
No
Yeah.
problem at all.
Just very quickly, I quite like it at the moment. This is what I was doing. I was taking loads of screenshots of things from webinars, all sorts of things, and saving them to my photos. It was a complete nightmare. So now if I take a screenshot, say, I don't save it to photos, I send it straight to Notion. I send it straight to a board just marked inbox. So it's
Brilliant.
this mad list of all these random things, but because it's searchable, it's in there somewhere.
Brilliant.
And
I
so
love
I know it's safe, you know.
Yeah. And that's
I
it, isn't it, Izzy? Just
yeah.
like that works for you, like making it work for you. There's no shame in how we work, is there?
Yeah.
You know, whatever works for us is great, and that's brilliant. And yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so even
Absolutely
if I don't ever look at it again, you know, I've got that idea or that germ of that idea or that inspiration. It's in there somewhere. And if one day I think, oh, what was that thing? Oh, where was that? When was that? I'll just search Notion and it should be in there somewhere if
perfect.
I've labeled it or titled it
Yeah, I
with
love
something
that.
useful.
I love that. I also think Notion's really good because there's so many levels to it. You know, there's just creating a spreadsheet and just using a spreadsheet, and then there's kind of understanding how the views work and how you can manipulate the data just to see certain things that you want to see in each view. And then there's mad like automations and, you know, formulas and all this. But there's a really simple way to use it that is literally just a pretty way of making a spreadsheet, which tends to work quite well for us. Fab. All right, brilliant. Who else has a question, something that they would like to add on to this? I'm just trying to think if there's anything that's missing that's come up. I wonder if we add on a link section in here. So once you've posted it, you can add the link, and then the link could go down to the repurpose section. Yeah, it's optional anyway, isn't it? So link there once posted, and then once you come in here, the link will be in there anyway.
Yeah, that would be amazing. 'Cause my poor VA is currently converting my carousels into newsletters, and I'll be like, that carousel where I was like talking about ducks in a row or something, and she's like, okay, and then has to go off and find it. So that would be super helpful.
We really need a support group for ADHD as VAs, don't we? Poor things. How do they
I
do
don't
it?
know.
Absolutely.
How do they
I
do
don't know where I feel.
Who else? Who haven't we heard from? I'm not going to call anyone out, but yeah, if anyone has a question, we've got half an hour, so if there's anything else you do want to add on, or even questions about Notion, questions about content, I'm happy to answer any of it or look at any of it.
What are your thoughts on using the same content across several different platforms if you've got completely different audiences? For example, I mean, literally, we've already established this, but I wake up in the morning and go, shit, what shall I post? Do a quick exercise, post it, and then that automatically goes to Facebook, and then I download it, put it as a short on YouTube, and then put it on TikTok as well, because that's all my brain has at the moment. But I
Yeah.
definitely need to get into this. But the idea of doing lots of different things for different platforms freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think you definitely shouldn't be creating content. I would say you shouldn't be creating content specific for each platform. It's different, you know, if you've got a huge audience and you've got a production team behind you and that kind of thing, but we haven't got the time to be creating stuff native to each platform. We can craft the captions so that it's more, you know, more relevant to that audience, to that platform, but the actual piece of content. What I would say, and maybe this is what you could use the repurposing section for, is if you can avoid putting them across platforms on the same day, I would recommend that, because people are, especially like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, I would say, there's nothing worse than if you're kind of, you know, going around the apps on your little muscle memory tour and you just see the same piece of content popping up. It's not the worst thing in the world. I wouldn't say it's, you know, I wouldn't say it's a massive no-no, but if you can avoid that by, I'm just trying to think how we could use the repurpose section for that. I mean, you can just use the repurpose section, can't you? And you can just say, you know, I posted this one today. So then I'll go in, I post it on Instagram today. So I'll go in 2 days' time and post it on TikTok, for example. It's just finding ways that work for you, isn't it? What, you know, maybe we'll add, if we can see the platform on here. Oh, it's because it's a list. Let's do it as table, but we only need to see platform, date, and the link. And the status. Is that all we need to see? Or does it work better as a list?
Don't ask me, because I'm just literally learning every second at the moment. So
I think I prefer a list. We do it as a list, and then you can, I mean, you can change it anyway, but you can go into it and see which platforms you've posted it on anyway. Let's change this so you can choose multiple platforms. Oh, it's multi-select already. So you could go into here and choose, you can choose more than one. So you can show which platforms you've already, there we go. It was just because I hadn't selected the platforms. You can see it on there. So I'll show you here where you've already posted it. And then you could say, yeah, that works, doesn't it? I think that works. Let's put these back up here because we haven't posted them, and then you've got a head start now. Cool. Oh, we've got another question. Can I add content framework somewhere? What do you mean specifically, Meg?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. So I don't know if I don't know if you follow him, Amanda, but I've followed Matt Barker on LinkedIn for a
Yeah, yeah.
while. And I've just been like dipping in and out of some of the stuff that I've got from him. So I mean like what you follow, like storylines, so like, you know, the problem, the whatever, that kind of stuff. I just
Yeah.
thought somewhat almost like templates, if I'm honest, that when you're coming to like fill out the content bit, you could just copy it and paste it in, and then you just have to like fill it out, because that's half my problem, is getting started on writing it. And I
Yeah.
keep coming across these really cool frameworks and then putting them in about 10 different freaking places. So it'd be
So-
good to just have them in one place.
Do you use templates in Notion?
Yeah.
So you could create a new template in here.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So you could have a template here. I don't know if you've used this. I might be about to blow your mind. And you can add in here. I'm either going to blow your mind or not, because I always forget how to do this. Button. Here we go. So you could. So what's one of the frameworks?
Oh,
Well,
bloody hell,
let's
now
just
you're
put it like framework 1.
yeah.
How many is there? Or is it just one framework?
I've got a few different formats that I try and follow. It's like, it's the thing of like, you know, what's the hook? And then the hook again. Like,
Okay.
say like if you were making a carousel, so you'd have your main hook, your
Like
second hook.
Ada or whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that kind of, yes, yeah, Ada, yeah.
So when the button is clicked, insert block, and the block would say, let's do Ada. So what is it? Action? No.
Action,
Interest,
desire.
desire. Oh no, the last one's action, isn't it? Attention. Action, attention. So whatever this one might be, however you want to do it, you would have that, and then
Oh, and you could just pick one.
framework 2, and then framework 3. So then when you come in here, when you create a new one of these, oh, we need to make it a default. Yeah, so it won't, annoyingly, it won't turn these into it, but when you come into a new one,
Yeah.
that's annoying. You can just choose which one you want.
Oh my God.
But obviously all of these would have different ones.
Yeah.
And then it's just gone a bit overboard with that. So you can, yeah, just choose which one you want depending on, does that work?
Yeah, I think so, because you could almost like be like, well, what's the idea? What am I trying to say here? And then have a look at the different frameworks and just pick the one that's going to help you the most to like get your point across.
Yeah, or you can just have them written out up here. You know, if you just need, if it's just somewhere to reference, or here, so they're visible when you're creating them.
You just copy and paste.
Or you could just put them in here as a tag. Like
Okay.
if you knew them, so you could just have a framework and then Ada like hook hook, story, action, you know? So then as
I
you're
think mine's that I forget them, but I like the I like the idea of like you could open up when you're writing the content and just like pick a framework. Oh yeah, I could just do a box just with the template in there, I guess. And it's just like,
I think I would do that. Do you know what I would do? I would do a toggle here.
yeah, oh, okay.
Oh, no, don't want that. I would just do frameworks there. And then I would just, personally, I would just have them here. Like framework 1 is this, framework 2. And then you can just have it tucked away.
I think I'd do the same and have a little hook toggle as well. Because I've got like 20 hooks that I try and like play
Oh
with,
yeah,
but
perfect. Or like prompts and stuff. It's
Yeah.
definitely. Just having that's a really good tip actually. If people are creating reels, I would always try and have like a list of prompts. So you're never creating it from scratch. So your prompts might be, you know, one thing I wish people knew, or one thing I wish I'd learned sooner, or this thing keeps coming up with my clients, or just a list of, you know, even 20 or 30. It doesn't have to just be a few, but just to always have that starting point. Yeah, so Meg, you could just have like frameworks here, frameworks, hooks, prompts here.
And then you could just pick the framework, pick the prompt, brain dump into the pillars underneath, and just like, because that's my thing, is just getting started. So that's why I like prompts, and I might not completely stick to them, but it just like kicks it off.
Yeah, I think it would overcomplicate it to try and add it into the tables. From
I
what
agree.
you're saying, I think that you'd actually want it down here, wouldn't you? For when you're creating it, you just want a visual reference, don't you? So you can, when you're actually writing out the content, you can go, I'm using this hook for this one.
Mhm. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll just delete
brilliant.
this from this, but yeah, I would do that if I was you.
Okay.
Let me just remove it from that template as well. Has anyone got anything else they want to know? Is there anything in the chat? Has anyone got anything that they want to ask? They want to know anything at all? We've got 15 minutes left if anyone wants to use it.
I'm sorry, I just got something.
Oh, sorry,
It's
Izzy,
a
sorry.
no, it's a Notion thing, actually. So you've got your bit, the plan bit,
Yeah.
and then you've got the create bit. So as you were putting things in plan, it then populated create. How did you do that?
So this
Yeah,
is just another view of this. So this create
right.
is the main database, and then this plan is just a board view of that database.
Okay. Where was it? Was it above that? Was it on the first list? What? Yeah, that one. Where was it? We were starting to brain dump, and then it automatically populated
Yeah,
it. Was
this
it
one.
because?
Yeah,
Yeah, was
yeah.
it because they're linked? It's
'Cause
the same thing.
It's the same database. So it's essentially this board view is
Yeah.
just this visually changed. So
So
it's
what?
linked.
So did you duplicate it?
So you can duplicate it, or you can, if you come into any of these plus
Yeah.
signs here, you can create another view of it. So if you come in here, we can create
I see, yeah.
database view, board view, table view,
Okay.
gallery view here, and
Oh,
then
I see. Right.
you choose which of your databases you want to pull from.
Okay.
So that's
Right.
created that. So yeah.
Okay.
So if you changed this, if we
Yeah.
change, say we say, no, we want this to be 3 exercises for
Okay.
5 minutes, that's going to change it there, and wherever it was here.
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Same,
Okay.
same view. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
That's a really good question.
Okay, cool.
Lindsay.
Hi. In just a question around sort of content rotation, when you might be covering quite a lot of different content topics.
Yeah.
So, for example, I guess thinking about my content, so the core of my content is helping people to find their sort of super strengths and their ADHD gifts and their life purpose.
Yeah.
On the journey for them to find their life purpose, they get clarity on what are their passions, what are their super strengths, what are their values, to then get clarity on that, what their purpose is. And obviously there's a huge amount of content you can do just on super strengths. There's a huge amount you can do on values, what's important to you, relating all of that to ADHD. So I guess it's, yeah, like in terms of sort of planning, you know, monthly content or weekly content, if you would suggest sort of mixing that all in, or sort of focus on it for a couple of weeks all about values. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I do. I think that if you've got those as your pillars, though,
yeah, they would be my pillars. They would be my
yeah, I
pillars.
think I just wouldn't get too granular with your pillars. I think I would say that those 3 things almost constitute your method. And so I would have your method as one of the pillars, rather than strengths as a pillar, purpose as a pillar. You know, I would have your method as a pillar, your personal story, and your, I don't know, results that you get for clients or something, I would say are your pillars, rather than breaking down the method. So then having those 3,
Love that. Absolutely.
that's what you're kind of brainstorming underneath those. And maybe it is just your method and your personal story. It doesn't really need, or maybe a third one is kind of broader ADHD content, like more relatable ADHD content. That's definitely where I've seen the growth.
Yeah.
So I would say that's a key one to get in.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
No problem. Fab. Well, there's just a few of us left. So Meg's asking when you can get your hands on it.
Yes.
I will share it with you now.
Yay.
So this is another thing I can just show you while we're here. When you have done this, if you ever wanted to create a Notion and sell it or share it with clients or anything like that, just go into share at the top here and then publish. And then you're going to publish it to the web. Make sure that editing is off, but duplicate as a template is on. So that is now live. Rest of my Thursday gone. There we go. Knock yourselves out. So yeah, you'll have a copy of this as it looks now. So feel free to go in. You've got all Mel's content in there. Feel free to go in. There are some, I don't want to teach you how to suck eggs, but if you're going to delete all of this, which obviously you will be, just come in and highlight it like that and then hit delete. I won't delete it so we can keep it all for Mel. But that is, yeah, otherwise you're kind of coming in and doing each one individually, which is a bit of a pain. So go and highlight it, delete that. Make sure you update these to your own pillars. So just click into them and you can write over them and then just click done. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Just go in and you can't break it. Well, you can break it, but tell me if you've broken it and we'll fix it again. Just go in and have fun.
Can I just ask you a really quick question about the pillars that you talk about? Because you like having gone through that with me, and me just off the top of my head thinking of that is so obvious. But do you recommend only having like a few pillars?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I'm not huge on having pillars. I just think it's helpful to identify them for yourself, because otherwise what happens is exactly what you said, Mel. You know, all I do is talk about exercise. So every morning I'll think, what exercise can I do? And that's why you're not growing and you're not selling in the way you want to, because you're stuck in this middle ground of just people just knowing that they can expect these exercises, which they love, but
Yeah.
it's not talking to the wider audience.
It's not getting anywhere with it. Yeah.
It's not bringing
Because
anyone new in. If you were going to do some reels about, you know, I hate people being purposely like controversial, polarizing. I
yeah,
think
I hate it. So, and
there's enough
in
of
my
that.
industry, it's rife and
It
it's
is,
it's
yeah.
insidious in my
Yeah,
industry, and I
it's
hate it. So I
horrible.
really, yeah, I have to stay
It's
away from that.
horrible. But there's ways of doing really relatable stuff. So it's not, you know, I did a reel yesterday that's gone bonkers about ADHD affirmations, and it was like, you know, my keys are
I
free
saw
to do
it.
what they choose, that
I
kind of
saw
thing.
it and I loved it. It was amazing. Yeah,
People
yeah,
just like love stuff like that. So it doesn't
yeah.
have to be, that was nothing to do with business. That was about kind of dog whistling anyone with ADHD. Then they come into your world and then they see you talk about business, and it's up to them to choose whether they have a business and want to stay or don't want to stay. But that's the content that you need to just get that much broader reach.
Because this is what happens to me when you said pillars, and I wake up every day and go, what exercise should I do today? Or I just, if you know, every now and then I talk about something that's personal. But then since you've said that, I've just gone, I could think of like 10 different pillars now. So do I need to rein it back in from that as well?
Yeah, you don't want 10, but I bet if you tell me those 10, I bet they're not 10. I bet you've just gone
Probably
too
not
granular.
10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, some of them are already, I can say that's the same as that. That's the same as that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's 6 on there, which is probably too many.
I would say 6 is too many. I would try and go for like 3 or 4, just to see if there's some that you can condense, or kind of if there's an overarching theme across some of them.
Yeah.
Like Lindsay saying, you know, my pillars are this, this, and this. They're the method, so they're not the pillars. So maybe you're looking at, you know, exercises for women, exercises for men. I know that's not the case, but that would just be exercise.
Yes. So that's really interesting, because my actual job, I teach strength training and kettlebell. So I teach really hardcore exercise. But what I'm showing people on Instagram is how to do the gentle stuff, because most women in midlife need to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've gone, okay, strength training and stretching daily, but actually that's just one pillar, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're just different headings under one pillar.
Definitely.
Yeah, right.
Definitely. Definitely. Do you know what I think that this is a bit controversial, right? I'm going to stop recording before I say this. Hang on. How do I stop recording when I've got stop recording? There we go.